solve the system of equations using elimination. So here we have to solve for all three variables x, y, and z such that it satisfies all three of these equations. And the basis of elimination is that we can add two equations together or subtract them, and that's perfectly okay, and that's going to help us solve for the variables. So here, the idea is that we're going to eliminate variables so that there's only one variable left, and then we can solve for that and find the exact value or the number that variable is. So first off, you can choose any variable to eliminate first. I just chose y because notice 5y, if I add this to negative 5y, that's going to be 0 and it's going to cancel each other out. And so that's what I've done here. I've got the first equation and the third equation. I add them together. And so I add all the terms. Here we get x, once again the negative 5y and the 5y, that cancels each other out. And we get negative 2z, and then the constants, we have 7. So that gives us a new equation, which I'll call equation 4. So, and you have to do this again. So similarly, I chose 2 and 3 because, again, we have the 5y, negative 5y. Again, we're trying to eliminate the y variable. And so here I've just added it. I get negative 3x plus 2z equals to negative 5. I'm going to call that equation 5. Now we have equation 4 and 5. And notice they actually have z and negative 2z, so we can just add them together and eliminate the z variable. And now all we're left with, if you do that, we're going to get negative 2x equal to 2. And you can see that's a pretty simple equation. We can just solve for x, divide both sides by negative 2, and see that x is negative 1. And that's going to be helpful because now we know one of the variables. We can plug this in to equation 4. If I plug that in, it's negative 1 minus 2z equals 7. Now we have an equation that just has z. And so if we rearrange these numbers, we can solve for z. You can see I move the negative 1 to the right, got 8. I divide by negative 2, and I get z equals negative 4. Now that we have these two, we can plug it into any of the original equations that has y in it. I just chose equation 1. So that's over here. You can see it's negative x, so negative 1, I plugged in negative 1, minus 5y plus z, which is negative 4, equal to 17. And now you can see here, we have y all by itself, and we have a bunch of numbers, so we can solve for y. So here that's positive 1, subtract 1 from both sides, I get 16, but then add 4, and I get 20. And now all I do is divide by negative 5, and I get y is equal to negative 4. And so these are my three solutions. X is negative 1, y is negative 4, and z is negative 4 as well.